All right, we should be live now. I should be live. Let me call the studio. Call the bunker.
Just to confirm, you'd like to calling now. You are the first caller in the queue.
Hey, it's Matt. I should be live. I'm showing excellent connection.
Yes, we do.
Matt, are you there?
I am here.
Okie dokie.
Alright. I don't see you on YouTube yet.
Yeah, I've been streaming for, let's see, how long? 1 minute and 7 seconds now.
The last thing I have is a testing that you did 15 hours ago.
Yep, last night. So, I don't know, refresh or something.
I've been to refreshing. Let's see. I got your whole other shows from last year, from Houston. But the last thing on the bar is your last night. Just refreshing again.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Live from the Tejas Smoke Depot in Fredericksburg, Texas. Or is that Fredericksburg?
See, the problem is I can't play it.
I got one viewer, that must be you.
I'm sorry.
I have one viewer, that must be you.
Well, when I click on, there we go. There it is.
Are you subscribed? Because that might help.
I think I found it.
Okay.
The problem is I can't do anything about it right this. Hang on. All right. I can't do anything about it right this second because it's coming in the same pot as Harley's tape thing right now.
Ah, okay.
So I can't pot it open and listen to you. So I'm gonna have so I don't have the volume up. So I just have to wait. So give me a second here. I got about 35 seconds until I gotta go to the top of the hour. So.
All right.
So give me just a second, and I'll be right back to you.
All right.
You're done? So, yeah. Guess I'll have here in a minute. As soon as we get done. I'm gonna run across up there, check on my brother-in-law. Make sure
He's not the one.
he's not the one. Well, you know, sometimes in the middle of the night, he's 65 years old.
Uh-oh.
And used to be really, really heavy drinker, and now he just kind of, you know, some days like you. But anyway.
Hello? Yes, sir, I am.
Alright, go ahead, sir. Just gonna start talking to the mic.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. Yes. What's that? Restart?
Did you restart your feed?
Nope, I did not. I've been on 5 minutes and 38 seconds.
Alright. I hear you now.
All right.
I just make me have so much anxiety.
Yeah.
Down to the
I'm way over that.
So anyway, sometimes he gets up at 2 in the morning and starts wandering the property.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Yes.
We got about a 6 or 7 second delay.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, that's fine. I can work with that.
All right. Should I just? I'll just leave this. I'll just leave this line open on speaker.
Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll just give you countdown, and when it gets to near the end of your intro music, then I'll go ahead and give you a cue and tell you to start.
All right. All right. Let me find these stories.
Alright, so we got about 3 minutes until we go to local commercials, and then it's a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and about 2.5 minutes worth of local commercials, so we're talking about 5.5 minutes.
Okay. All right. Search. All right, Jody, we're about a minute and a half away.
Alright.
Seconds, man.
30 seconds. Ooh, that smells so good.
Tobacco.
Mm,
That's why I haven't quit yet.
mm.
Every time I think about it, and somebody likes one up, it's like, oh yeah. Not
Here's
today.
Kyle.
Cool.
Go. Hey folks, welcome. Good morning. So happy to be here with you this morning. We are live this morning at the Tejas Smoke Depot in Fredericksburg, Texas. So happy to be here with you this morning and happy to be here with Jody. And man, we got a great show lined up for you. Kyle Biederman's going to be coming in here in a few minutes and reporting to us on a meeting, a very, very important meeting that took place yesterday in Waco, Temple, someplace up there in Central Texas, of the Republican caucus in the Texas House. So that's a big deal. So Kyle's going to come in and report to us on that. But right now I'm sitting here with Jody Gould, the owner, operator, proprietor of the Tejas Smoke Depot. Good morning, Jody.
Good morning, Matt.
We having fun yet today?
Oh yeah, you know, nothing like a rainy morning to get you going.
You brought in a lot of goodies too, didn't you?
Yes, I
I did. I
did.
saw trays of food, and was that a champagne fountain you're putting up in the back, or was that a chocolate fountain?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both.
Both, yeah. Sorry, no chocolate nor champagne fountains at the Tejas Smoke Depot. But folks, you can find us on the west end of Main Street on Fredericksburg. If you're headed to west on Main Street, that would be towards Harper. Get to the Y, go to the left on at the Y there, and go down a little bit further on the left, and there you'll find the Tejas Smoke Depot. This is a special week for you guys. Tell us about what's going on this week, Jody.
Well, every year we try to do a little or a big sale on to give our regular customers and those who may not have found us yet a little special, some specials on our products as a customer appreciation thing. And so we set up a little snack bar. Excuse me.
That's all right. So you got a snack bar set up? Is that what you said?
Yeah, a little snack bar.
Okay.
And some goodies, you know. Of course, it's Halloween week, and so we've got some candy for those ghouls and goblins that might come in this week. And we always run a special during this week on just about everything in the store. So the specials range from 5% to 50% on some things. And we just like to give people a chance to come in and try some of our products and get entered into some drawings for some in-store giveaways. And so that this is this week. Every year it's in October. And so we figured Halloween would be a good week to do it.
Yeah, I went to a Halloween party on Friday night already, so there you go.
Okay.
People said they really liked my costume. I didn't do anything. I went. Gail said, "We're having a Halloween party." I said, "Great, I'll come for the band." And I went in a pair of jeans and a hoodie. So I guess that was my costume. And so you're going to have specials all week? Are you going to have different specials every day? Or is it you just have a set of specials for the week?
No, it'll probably be specials, different specials every day. It'll be a matter of looking over things and seeing what we feel like doing that day. But pretty much everything will have a little bit of a discount on it. So, there's nothing set in stone around here. It's
Okay.
kind of go with the flow.
All right, that sounds good. So best bet then to get your best deal would probably be to come in Every day this week.
There
Just
you
make it
go.
your regular, your stop in the morning. You never know if your cigar is going to be on sale today or tomorrow. I'll bet you if you came in here and said, hey, Jody, that's my favorite cigar. When is it going on sale? I'd be willing to bet she says, about right now.
There you go. That's pretty much the way it works around
That's
here.
the way it works. So anyway, y'all come on down today. I've got a couple of little announcements to make. We'll bring Jody on later in the program again, but we got to get to some things. There's a lot of work to be done this week on for candidates. I mean, we're getting down to the crunch, and it's time. Are you doing anything for any candidates? If you have not done anything yet, you still have an opportunity this week. I have been calling it your get out of jail free card. And basically what I'm saying is if things go south next Tuesday, did you do something to help? And if you didn't do anything, if all you did was sit at home and complain to your friends and post on Facebook or what have you, then the blame's going to lie partially on you. And if you actually did something, if you made some phone calls, if you did some block walking, then there's your get out of jail free card. Then you'll be able to hold your head up and say, well, I did what I could do. And you can look at your friends and your family and say, what did you do? All right, and then where we'll be is starting all over for 2 years on down the road. So here's what you can do. Chip Roy probably needs your support more than anybody in the Hill Country, and just because so much out of state and even probably out of country money is coming in for Wendy Davis, anything you can do to help Chip. So you need to get a hold of Jacqueline Hall. And her email is patrioticgirl1996@gmail.com. Patrioticgirl1996@gmail.com. She also has a phone number, but they've got block walking on Tuesday as well as Wednesday of this week. Basically, if you'll go by the GOP headquarters in either Kerrville or Gillespie County, they'll be able to tell you where and what's going on. And anyway, hey, if you'll have a pen and pencil ready, I'll give you Jacqueline's number here in a few. I'll give it to you a couple of times over the hours. So stay tuned, folks. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back.
Oh yeah, if everyone's looking for them, like I said, the menu mark by Bugs has it. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send it that way then.
Alright, thank you.
Yeah.
Y'all have a great day. Thank you.
Last night I woke up and was like, whatever, John's not drinking. And Roxy's out there.
Okay.
Johnny, Jeremy's not out.
Yeah.
Oh, what kids are okay. Well, at least
I did, and I turned it up.
Jeremy.
Did that? All right.
We both check mug shots. I do everybody.
Hey, Bob, I have a little more. Do you want me to turn it up a little bit more?
It might not be. Still, I should play. Right there. It might be a day later or whatever.
Right, let me check on Ray. Tommy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Tommy gets up at 2 in the morning sometimes and starts moving around.
Hey, perfect timing.
Oh.
We got about a minute and a half.
That's really good.
I wanted to ask you guys, I'm putting on a fundraiser, ski shoe, not ski shoe, it's a sporting clay shoe, so it's different Garrison Brothers.
Garrison,
out there.
okay.
You know, just doing samples, just
Sure.
tasting.
Well, wow, yes.
What can I do for cigars? Is there something we can do?
Sure, or, I mean,
I'm not looking for you to get into. I'm saying, what can we do that'd be fun for these
we have
guys?
some value price cigars that aren't really,
I don't want that. I'd rather want the good stuff. So I'd like to work with, one of your suppliers or something and see if they want to do any promotion.
our supplier is out of California, it's Phillips and King International. That's who we
Okay.
generally do
Oh,
business.
let's just figure something out. See how can I get some, I have cigars there.
Yeah,
To,
then there's General Cigar Company who supplies them, and they've come in here before, but not very often. Maybe we could possibly contact
this is
them.
people all over the state. It's going to be high dollar.
Right. Well, General Cigars are happy to go and Porto Filet, so they have a lot of brands.
All right, folks, we are back. Thanks for staying tuned. I got away without giving you any Ben Franklin here at the last break. So, Ben Franklin, I don't know why this one came up this morning, but it did. There are no ugly loves nor handsome prisons. There's no such thing as an ugly love or a handsome prison. So there you go. Thanks, Ben, for bringing that to us. We have Kyle Biederman sitting in here in the Tejas Smoke Depot with us this morning, and he and Jody have just been visiting, and I got Kyle in here. I think we may be breaking news this morning, and we're talking about the speaker's race in the Texas House, and I have to tell you that during the session, I've always said that the third most powerful man in the state is the Speaker of the House. And actually, over the last few years, he has become the most powerful man or woman in the state of Texas. And we're trying to make some changes to that. Good morning, Representative Biederman. Thanks for coming in today.
Hey, good morning, Matt. Thanks for having me on. And you better believe we had a meeting yesterday, pretty much an historic meeting, because the Texas House right now is very divided. We've got those that are loyal to Speaker Bonin and have remained loyal and have been in denial about what happened, basically. And there has not been any healing in the wounds that were made when Speaker Bonin actually called out fellow Republican House members. With language and with accusations and other things that were certainly not befitting of a fellow member, let alone one of the most powerful Republicans in the state of Texas. So that meeting was the first time that we've gotten together since the whole Bonin fiasco.
Okay, so let's give a little background. The Speaker of the House has been kind of a weird situation over the last few years. We had Speaker Strauss, who took over from Speaker Craddock, but kind of in an underhanded way, if I remember correctly. It was about a 2-to-1 Republican to Democrat at the time, about 100 Republicans, 50 Democrats in the House, more or less, rounding it off. And so in order to become the Speaker, you have to have a majority of the members, which is 76 votes. And so Speaker Strauss was able to take the seat. He has an R by his name, but he was able to take the seat by grabbing all 50 Democrats and 26 Republicans and taking the House. There has been some challenges over several sessions, and then the next speaker essentially kind of used some of the same trickery, but also that was Bonin, was our last speaker, and he essentially he just decided not to run again. He was quite disgraced. And so we've had this situation of how do you pick a speaker, and finding someone that everybody wants, from the conservatives all the way, from the Freedom Caucus guys all the way up to the rhinos, the Sarah Davises in the House. It's always been a situation, and Kyle and some of the other representatives have come up with possibly an alternate way, not an alternate way to do this, but a different approach to picking the speaker. Would you tell us about that?
Well, just to add a little bit to what you said, we passed a bylaw in 2 sessions ago because of the Strauss situation, because the Democrats could or a Republican speaker could get all the Democrats, give them promises, and then just pick a few Republicans to make up the 76 votes.
Right.
So we had to stop that, and that's why Strauss didn't run. But then we got another speaker race, and we had a void. We had a vacuum because Strauss, we knew, was not running again. So how do we now pick a speaker when you can't really side with the Democrats to win? Well, Bonin found the way with a group of House members that wanted to use power to win the vote. And so Bonin was put forth as the only candidate versus another speaker candidate who was going to supposedly be siding with the Democrats. So we were basically forced to vote for Bonin. That was the only choice. And so that's how that worked. So obviously that way to pick a speaker doesn't work either.
Yeah.
The only way to pick a speaker is for the House, which is the bylaw we passed, to come together and we talk and debate and have the speaker candidates talk in public, or not public, but talk transparent to the members instead of secret meetings with secret votes, and then it gets popped on us, and those that are not in the power group get left out. So that's what we have to do different this time. We had the same vacuum, but the only way to change the dynamic, and because we have that power group, which is the Bonin loyalists, they want the speaker from their group. They're already picking somebody, and they're going to force it on everybody. So the only way to stop that is to expose them, to get enough members together that say, hey, we are supposed to talk as a House caucus, as Republicans. And so I put together a meeting yesterday. It was only a week ago, and that meeting yesterday, we had over 40 out of the 83 reps there,
Okay.
Republican reps, and we talked just like this, out in the open with everybody. And only 3 people from that Bonin group showed up, but at least those 3 people can go back and say, hey, this meeting was open, honest, and we're going to have a process. In fact, what came out of the meeting, we're meeting a week from Thursday, 2 days after the election. We're going to meet to talk about candidates, and we're going to, actually have the discussion that we should have, and a unity in picking a Republican candidate for Speaker.
Yeah, the idea is, and of course this works just like in Washington, D.C., the Speaker of the House is chosen at the beginning of each session through a vote on the floor. And as you see in Washington, we see up there that if the Democrats are in control, they pretty much, even though the Republicans have a vote and they could nominate someone to run against the Speaker, we see what happens in the national. And so in the state, it's the same thing. You've got the 151, I believe, 151 House members, 150 House members, and so the idea is to vote on the floor. Well, the Republican caucus decided a few years ago that they were going to select in their caucus their candidates so as to not have any fighting going on within the Republicans, and then take that to the floor, and knowing that they had the numbers coming out of the caucus and then voting for that person. One of the things, and so that's to kind of give you an idea of how this works. And so y'all have agreed to do that. And so in this meeting a week from Thursday, y'all are gonna go through that process. Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're going to begin that process. We'll finish it up. We have a scheduled meeting in December where we actually nominate somebody, but we may have that person a week from Thursday. Just like last year, the person was already pretty much elected before we actually nominated in December, is when we usually nominate. So this time, though, it won't come out of the blue. It won't be coming out of private, secret meetings of the most powerful. It's going to come from all the House members talking about it. And we know we're going to have a number of candidates then a week from Thursday to talk about, and we'll at least get the process started as a group instead of just the most powerful. So it's a very exciting time. It's something that we really need to do because we need a speaker that's going to reduce some of his power, give more power back to the members. We need to make some House rule changes, and we talked about all those things yesterday in the meeting in the open, which again, we never do that. We don't ever have those meetings because the people in power don't want that meeting.
Yeah.
They want you to get to get to session, never talk about it, and when it's time to vote for the House rules, the speaker's already quelched the majority of the members, said, you better not vote for any of that stuff. If you do, there's retribution.
Oh.
So now we're going to have that talk right now. So the speaker knows that the majority of the members want that. And if these members have the courage to just continue through, we can actually have debate and vote on some House rule changes, which will change the culture in at the Capitol, especially in the House. And it's just going to be, it's history making. This has never happened before.
This is real exciting. Can you give us an idea, and we only have about 2.5 minutes left, can you give us an idea of what kind of rules, and you don't have to be specific, but what types of rules are there?
I'll tell you real quick.
All right.
So we want to reduce the amount of money that the speaker raises. The last two speakers left with over $10 million. Okay, Bonin and Strauss left with a whole bunch of money. That money should have been going to the members, not to them. Or if it went to them, they should have given it to the House members or the House caucus to spend to help us win elections. Number two, we want to reduce the lobby influence in the speaker office and send the lobby to the members. Number three, term limits for the speaker. Number four, we also want to have a more transparent process for electing chairman and actually rotating chairman, not having them there forever. And we also talked about there's no need, if we're in power, there's no need to give a percentage of the chairmanships to the other party. So if there's 35% Democrats and 55 or 65% Republicans, it shouldn't be a percentage of those chairmen. If we're in charge, we're going to have our Republican chairman. We'll let some Democrats if we all agree on it, but we need to all agree on it, not just the speaker, because the speaker does that for power. If he gives a whole bunch of Democrats the opportunity to be chairman, then he's guaranteed to be elected as speaker again because he has all those votes. And that's been the problem, that there's too much power on the speaker and we can't get rid of him.
Man, listen, there is... can you stick around after the break? Or
Sure.
All right, we're going to stick around after the break. I got a few more questions for Representative Biederman. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying tuned. Going to assume we are off the air.
I tell you, man.
He doesn't like me to mute, so we might still be on the air. So
Okay.
Are we
no
gonna-
seventh grade jokes.
A Troy Aikman or a Tony McDonald.
That's right.
or-
So upset.
I never talk that way
Troy,
anyway.
what's that?
So upset.
3.5 minutes. All right, thank you, sir.
Oh, man.
I've always loved Troy. I mean,
Yep.
he was such a great quarterback for Dallas.
Well, you get into anywhere where you're want to be popular. Anywhere, any position, doesn't matter. You want to be popular, you're going to play that stupid political correctness
I
BS.
was so upset.
Especially when you're on TV.
When you are a figure like that, I say keep the politics out of your position and just enjoy the position you have. And then you have both sides liking you. But when you start dividing it by being political,
The problem is the people that pay your salary, the owners of the business want you to be political. That's the problem. They want you to pull, here it is, you got to read this thing for Black Lives Matter, you got to read this thing for unity, you got to read this, you got to read this. On the air, you're forced. So you're right what you're saying, but you have to realize that's not who you answer to.
had, because of our signs, it's obvious we support. We're never have really, cared
Yeah,
anybody else before. We respect people. Lady come in.
Did they say anything to you?
Crying because she liked us, but because of who we supported, she just didn't know what to do. It was like, we're still the same people that we've liked for all these years. Now all of a sudden
Yep.
you don't like us.
I know. Hey, look at me.
Yeah.
I just became a official. Look what happened. I thought everyone liked me.
Yeah, I know, but.
So what else on the speaker thing? What else? I mean, I'm
let's
telling
just-
you, this is people have no idea how it really works up there.
Yeah.
And the people that came in, and it's just been amazing. It's been amazing. It was a great meeting. But boy, I tell you,
How are you?
Good, Matt.
Good.
The wound is so deep. And so there's Clardy up there calling out
About a minute.
Cyrie, calling out Wilson, calling out whoever else. There's only 3 of them that were there. Jeannie Morrison, at least she was open about it. But okay, real quick or what?
No, I need to talk to you after you
Okay.
have been on the air. Are y'all going to be on another
Not-
10 minutes or?
Till about another 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
All right, I'll hang out.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. When you come on the air, we'll talk about it on the air.
I don't think you want to talk about what I want to talk about on the air.
On the air. And what is your name?
I'm Rachel Vickers.
Rachel Vickers.
I'm actually from Kerrville, but maybe you're the one that can get to Dawn Buckingham that can talk. She can talk. We can talk about it.
So Dawn is your senator.
Right.
Okay. Well, she's my senator. I have 2 senators. I have Dawn Buckingham and I have Donna Campbell in my district. So sure.
All right, we're about 10 seconds out.
Okay.
All right, folks, we are back. We are at Tejas Smoke Depot. In fact, you got about another 30 minutes. We're still down here, and if you want to come by and visit and say howdy on the air or anything, right now I still have Representative Kyle Biederman sitting here. We've been talking about the race for the Speaker of the House. Some interesting things been going on. That's been a really manipulated vote for quite some time now, and so the Republicans are trying to get that back into the hands of the members of the House and out of the power group. And so part of the thing is, and this has mystified me since day one, since I got involved in the Texas House, this has just mystified me. Why in the world do we hold a majority and yet the speakers on the committees, I'm sorry, not the speakers, the heads of many of the committees are Democrats, and this one I've never understood that. Would you give us a little bit of that history, Kyle, and tell us why that is that way?
Well, there really wasn't history. In fact, we talked about this again in our meeting yesterday. It was 2 hours. And Craddock, Speaker Craddock, got up and talked about his experience as being Speaker. He was the first Republican Speaker. Remember, we didn't have a Republican Speaker or a Republican majority for sure for over 150 years in Texas.
That's right.
Then we got he talked about how he kept building the Republican Party and building up the members, and then we finally got the majority and he became Speaker. But before that, the Democrats, they weren't giving Republicans chairmanship. Now, there were 2 Republicans, actually Craddock and I think Smithy, Representative Smithy, they were given chairmanships as Republicans, but that was token. 2 out of all those years. So then Speaker Craddock becomes Speaker, and he had no bench. Remember, just think about it. No Republicans were given leadership. No Republicans really knew how to lead. And so here's Craddock, as Speaker of the House, with all basically rookies in leadership positions from the Republican Party. So he had to build those Republicans up to know how to lead, how to be chairman, and so forth. But then, after Craddock, Strauss realized, I know how to get power and stay there. I'll give a whole bunch of Democrats chairmanships. That way I'm guaranteed to be reelected. I'm guaranteed to be there for 10 years. I'm guaranteed to be able to raise much money as I want because I'm promising both parties.
Right.
And then Bonin, of course, was the Speaker pro tem for Strauss for most of those years. So Bonin knew how to play that game. So Bonin continued, and they call it a tradition. the tradition was only from Strauss, and that's it. But they call it a tradition, and again, they like that because, oh, we're friends with everybody. We vote yes for everything, so we can be buddies with the Democrats. And, oh, just as long as we stay in majority, we just want to be buddies. Well, that whole buddy thing has brought us to the point where Texas is turning blue, and we can't let that happen.
Yeah, we're, 8 seats away from turning the Texas House to a Democrat House?
9.
9 seats away. And just 2 sessions ago, it was a 2-to-1. We were sitting at 100 to 50, essentially. And now we are just 9 seats away from going to a Democratic House. So really, do you think there's any chance of those 9 seats flipping?
Well, I tell you, this is a very nail-biting election. Just the fact that people would be voting for socialism and voting for the Democrat platform is just mind-boggling. But there is definitely a chance. There's no doubt about it. Do I feel deep down? I think we're going to hold the House. But what a feeling! Hold the House. And
Yeah.
But again, this is redistricting. Whoever wins the House, controls the House this next session, is the future of Texas and the future of America. Because redistricting is happening, and the people in charge of the House are the ones going to redistrict. And if the Democrats get in charge, you know what that's going to do.
Oh yeah, they'll just gerrymander back into
And
power.
then it's there for 10 years, and then you have to try to change it. I mean, it's long term. This election's going to affect the state of Texas for a long time.
And I'm already hearing some amazing numbers, and I kind of just heard it out of the corner of my ear this morning, so if I got this wrong, please forgive me. But I heard something like 80% of registered voters in Gillespie County have already showed up to vote. I mean, I heard that number. Listen, I'm not sure. I heard it in the background.
Comal County is also my district. They had the highest percentage, and they were up in the 60s and 70s. So I don't think Gillespie was actually 80, but it's huge.
It's
for early
huge.
voting.
It's
and,
amazing.
I'm glad people want to get out and vote and get their vote counted. It's just wondering which votes those are.
Who's are voting. I
So-
think this next Wednesday is just going to be a mind-blowing day for all of us. Anybody that claims they can predict what a week from Wednesday is going to look like, I think is just... they have no idea. I don't think anybody statewide, nationwide, even in the city, we've got city elections going on in
That's right.
Fredericksburg, and it's kind of interesting that usually there's a 10 to 15% turnout for the city elections, and they're going to have a huge turnout for city elections this year. There's no telling what it's going to look like in the city. I think everything is going to get flipped on its head.
Well, we've been trying to change the city elections to November for this reason, so that there's more people, participating in the vote. But this is really going to show a lot all over the state. What is a city election like in November? And we just know it's the better way to do it.
Do you think that the city and the county could save money if they did their elections in the November? Could we use that argument that it's less expensive to run an election at the same time every 2 years? What do you think about that?
Well, per person, of course. When you have a 10% voting during the May elections, and you have 60 to 70 or whatever percent. I mean, obviously, it's much more efficient and effective. But the point is, I don't think the dollars have changed that much.
Okay.
You got polling stations, and that's for the city. There's only one polling station. You vote in the city.
Okay.
So it's not like the county election where you've got all these different precincts. You vote in the city, so it's only one place. I would think it's less expensive. Plus, you're getting a huge increase in participation of voters.
Yeah, and you would think that's what every elected official wants is
Wait a minute, come on, Matt.
participation.
You know that's not what they want.
Yeah. Okay.
You know
okay.
that's not what they want.
So let's skip ahead. Let's go ahead and let's assume that we keep the House.
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances that the Texas House will actually deal with the platform of the Republican Party this year. Last session, we were really disappointed in that hardly any of the Republican platform, by my count, it was half of one of the 5 priorities. What do you think the chances are? And go ahead, say it depends. Go ahead.
Well, actually, it does depend on, because of next session being so focused on COVID, budget deficits, and just the division in our state. We actually talked about that yesterday. Again, look what happens when you meet.
Right.
I mean, I kept telling everybody, we just need to meet. Don't worry about what the specifics of the meeting are going to be. Let everybody talk. And just let us, because when we get together and we talk about controversial things, actually our meetings are very unifying. It's when we meet as a caucus and the leadership just tells us what to do,
Right.
those meetings are worthless.
Right.
And not unifying.
Absolutely.
But next session, we talked about if we actually talk about a speaker, talk about reducing power, talk about the speaker being from the whole caucus. We also talked about having a priority. We did the leadership in the House, which would be Strauss or Bonin. They never put out priorities. We talked about the House needs to put out the priorities of what we want to do next session, and most of it's based on the priorities of the Republican Party platform, which is the people of Texas, and usually the most conservative people of Texas. And I would think that all the grassroots are totally in favor of the priorities, the 8 priorities of the Republican Party platform. And so if we meet, we need to meet as a House, and we need to put those priorities forward. And if we do that, then we'll be doing the things that the grassroots want, which the most people in Texas want.
Okay, so we got about a minute left. What do you have any word? Last time I was up at the Capitol, it was all chained up. You couldn't even get into the yard. They're claiming it's because of Antifa.
So we talked about that. We only got a minute. I'm sorry.
All right.
So Charlie Guerin, Chairman Guerin, is head of House Administration, and he was there yesterday, and he told us that we may be voting from our offices, very limited on who can be in the Capitol, testing all the time. They've already bought these test kits. I mean, it was ridiculous. You can go to Walmart and H-E-B, but you can't go in the stupid Capitol. I mean, it is just ridiculous what they're thinking. But again, there's your control. These people want to control what's going on, and they can control things by allowing people to be in their office, thinking you're going to have a camera making sure if you vote from your office that it's you voting. I mean, this is ridiculous. And I'm telling you, that is what they're talking about for next session.
Wow.
And we're going to fight that all we can. But that's what they're talking about.
This is scary news. Folks, we're going to take a break. We'll be, Kyle, thanks for coming in, Representative
Welcome.
Biederman. Thank you, sir. Folks, we're going to take a break, and we will be right back, and we will wrap up the Monday edition of the Matt Long Show. Y'all stay tuned.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Thank you, Kyle. Sure. Okay.
See you, Rachel.
Just think about that. I want to do something. I want to have where they can purchase, obviously, but also. I wonder if they should
said it on the radio. We've been
Oh,
listening
yeah.
to the program.
Good, good, good.
Outside listening to the program right now. Right.
Good. Good time to corner him.
all over the state.
Thanks for coming over.
This is a nice little place.
It is. Even if you're not a smoker. It smells good in there, but to some people. Cigars. I can't stand to smoke them, but I like the smell of the...
Okay, I will contact them, my supplier, and see what they say.
Not you?
That's my opinion.